Let's look at a couple of challenges here on Blogging 101. First of all, how about naming your blog? What should you name your blog? Well, that's a really good question. And a couple of things to consider. So let's look at those things to consider as you go about coming up with a name for your blog. First of all, the suggestion is it must describe your blog. In some way, shape, or form, it should tell people what your blog is about. Now, in personal blogs, that's probably a little different. It doesn't matter that much, but in a business blog, a corporate blog, it should describe something. A company name, for instance, is certainly a description of your blog. Your company name / blog is certainly a description of your blog. But if you can identify even closer what your blog is about, that will help you and help people find you. It should be something easy to remember. You don't want to try and make a very complicated name so that it becomes something that's hard for people to remember. Even without writing them down, the name down, they should be able to get to your blog very, very easily. If at all possible, your name should equal your domain. That's one of the reasons I chose tradeshowguyblog.com. In fact, I tried to adhere to all of those reasons. It's easy to remember. It does describe the blog. It is a blog about trade show, and it's by Trade Show Guy. And that's the domain, tradeshowguyblog.com. So it had all three of those. So if someone's looking for Trade Show Guy blog or Trade Show blog or Trade Show Guy, chances are they'll find me online pretty easily. So if you can find a domain name that fits the name of your blog, more power to you. Now, company blogs, like I said, don't need a name, but it will help you stand out. So when you consider how to name your blog, that's one of the things to look at. So one of the things I suggest you do is to write down possible names for your blog in an exercise. Sit down with some friends and colleagues. In fact, go out and have a beer with them, and maybe they're from another company. And so you can sit there and possibly write down possible names for blogs of other people at your table. Not a bad plan, because what that does really is get you thinking about their names, a different perspective, and they're thinking about names for your blog, potential blog names. And therefore, you're going to get some input which you might not have had before. Just a thought, a possible suggestion for an interactive exercise. I'll look at what every blog should have. Again, these are not hard and fast rules, but suggestions when it comes to blogging. First of all, your blog should have consistency in as many ways as possible. The way it looks, it should compare with the look of your website, if at all possible. It should have consistent content so that you can look at one blog post from this month, look at something from last month, and go, oh, they're in the same grouping or same type of blog post or same topic. So consistency is very important. It should have some personality. The people that write for your blog should be able to express themselves in a very personable way. The look and feel of your blog should be something that expresses a personality as well. Sometimes you'll have to bring in a professional designer to help you do that, but that is something to consider. Your blog should be unique. And of course, every blog is unique in the sense that unique means one of a kind. Your blog is one of a kind, but do what you can to really play forward with that uniqueness and find ways to demonstrate that in to your readership. And of course, every blog should have content that keeps people coming back. That content should be as engaging and compelling and useful to your readers as possible. If the content is about yourself or your company or your products or your CEO or press releases, people really don't care about that stuff. You might wish they did, you might hope they did, but they really don't. But if you give them content that answers questions, solves problems, addresses an issue, answers a need, those kinds of blog posts and those kinds of content will keep people coming back. And a blog should certainly have good design. And there are ways to do this. There are a lot of templates out there. If you're on WordPress, for instance, which is the one I recommend, there are hundreds, in fact, there's probably thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of choices on how you can design a blog. And often you can find a design that's very easy to fit into what you want. Sometimes it pays to bring in a professional blog designer that can create graphics and everything for you. But a good design is essential to making a professional-looking, consistent blog. One of my favorite blog posts from Aaron Wall, author of the SEO book, a little an intermission, as you might put it, before we get to the next topic here, which is how often should you blog? Well, to be honest, you should probably answer some questions before you answer that question. So what are your goals with your blog? Are you looking to brand your blog? Are you looking to drive sales or get leads? You're looking to be a thought leader or a market leader. Those types of things should help you answer that question, how often should you blog? And again, it depends. If you're going to blog once a month, make it a very good blog post. There should be a consistent post that's there that people can find. Once a month, they're going to have a very good, consistent blog post with a lot of food for thought in there. If you're going to post, 2 or 3 times a week, make sure those maybe a little bit shorter, but they're very consistent. So whatever you decide, live up to your audience expectations. Now, of course, there is more than one school of thought on how often you should blog. One of my favorite bloggers is Scott Stratton, who has a blog, I believe, called Unmarketing. And he says I blog about once every 6 weeks, but I try and make it a great, killer blog post and not a bad thought. Of course, he has a lot of other traction in a lot of other areas in social media, as well as a lot of public speaking. He's got books. He does a lot of other things out there. So the blog is maybe not as important to him, certainly critical, but not as critical as some other people's blogs might be. So, with him blogging once every 6 weeks, it's different than someone like myself who I believe needs to blog at least once a week, if not 2 or 3 times a week, with consistent information and consistent blog posts and content to make myself known out there in the marketplace. Again, consistency and quality are key. If you're going to blog once a week, make sure it's there once a week. Don't miss 3 weeks in a row and then come back and do it 2 weeks in a row and then do it twice 1 week and then not at all for a month. So consistency and as high a quality as possible are very key. And again, live up to your readers' expectations. If they expect to see something brand new every single day, or maybe every single Monday, or once a month, or twice a week, do your best to live up to those expectations so that when they come back to your blog, you've got something new and they're expecting it to be there. And what about content? Well, first off, bad blogs really don't get read. If you have a blog that has content that's inconsistent, that's not poor, that's not thoughtful, people will not come back to that. If you have nothing but videos on your blog and the videos are lifted from other people on YouTube, it really shows you don't care much about your readers. You're just using other people's stuff. So be consistent, be as good as possible, strive for excellence, strive for high quality. Bad blogs don't get read. Self-centered content, mentioned that just a few moments ago. This also rarely gets read. I've looked for blogs in the exhibit industry, and I've found a lot of blogs for companies that are in the exhibit industry that make exhibits, but many of them have content that really is very self-centered. It's about how the CEO is doing, what awards he's won, what brand new products we have, well, how cool we are. It's got press releases in there. Now, in and of itself, each of those bits of content might not be bad if presented correctly, but if that's all your blog has is self-centered content, people really don't care. They won't come back. You're not solving a problem or addressing an urgent issue or a need with them. So remember, your blog is not about you or your company. It's about what your readers find important. And if your readers find something important and you can address that, you're going to find blog readers coming back very often. Try and solve a problem, offer insight into what's going on in your industry, new products, how to solve other things. If you do a lot of how-to videos on YouTube, for instance, those are the kinds of things that you can share on your blog because you can embed YouTube videos very easily on a blog. So offer insight into what's going on. If you have great ideas that you'd like to share and just get people's opinions on, this is a great place to share them as well. Give shortcuts. Again, this is back to the how-to. If you can tell people how to cut 5 steps out of a 15-step process and still solve what they're going to do, what they need to do, that is very important and very valuable to them. You're teaching them something that they have not learned before. So do the best you can, give value, and that's capitalized with an exclamation point for a reason. Continue to give value to your readers, and they will come back very frequently. So who are the potential bloggers in your world? Well, let's look at some of the options. First of all, who are the digital natives in your organization? Now, this could mean that the people off in HR who are not even near your blog post or near the marketing team might be very adept at social media. They might be the people that are very good at posting little blips on Facebook, and maybe they have a Twitter account. These types of people are the types of people that you should be interested in possibly becoming a blogger. Maybe they're good writers, and they are very aware of the industry, but they just don't have access to your blog. So if they're a digital native, they're someone to consider as a potential blogger. So find out where they are in your company and find out if they've got capabilities and would they, of course, even be interested in. So here's an exercise for you. Write down at least 4 people in your organization that you feel might make good bloggers or good blog contributors, whether or not they're in the marketing department or in the blogging department or the social media department, whatever. If you think they possibly can contribute, write them down and check them out. Secondly, write down at least 4 people in the industry that you might approach to write occasional guest blog spots. And this could be experts or consultants or some of your partners, some of your clients might even have a great blog post to offer. So reach out to these types of people as potential bloggers. You might want to only hit up these people once or twice a year for a blog post. But if you do that to 8 or 10 people, you're going to have pretty good content.